Assalamualaikum everyone. Let me introduce myself. I am Macatanto Warda and thank you for having the interest of watching this video. Now for this video, we will talk about formalism as a type of literary theory. The word formalism has derived from the word form. Form is to look at the formal devices, to look at the formal structure of the text or features of the text and then try to understand, interpret, or give its meaning. The ism is a belief or an approach of looking at things. So formalism is the approach of looking at things strictly adhering to their forms. But what is formalism? Have you questioned yourself about it and what could it mean? Formalism is an object-centered theory of critical approach to literature. It only focuses on the work itself and completely ignores the author of the work, the time and background information of the work, and the audience's feeling or perception about the work. It is the study of a text without taking into account any outside influences. Formalism rejects notions of culture or social influences, authorship, and content, and instead it focuses on the modes, genres, discourse, and forms. Formalism asserts that formal properties are the only things that matter about literature. It means that the external agents outside of the text are not taken into consideration. As I have mentioned, all the things about culture, politics, and the author's intent or social influencers are excluded from formalism. In formalism, form is the key and not the content. The key to understand the text is through the text itself. We have the following that includes the formal properties of a literary work. We have the words or the meaning of the words, the shape of the text or the structure of the text, the harmony of the words or between the words, the rhythm of the sentences, the rhyming of the words, the meaning of the text as a whole. These interpretations are based solely on the properties inherent in text. Everything necessary for understanding of a text is already in the text. It also focuses on the grammars and syntax, the structure of the plot, or the series of events. So we are only looking at the story. We did not go further away from a story, so to put it in other words, the use of formalism is simply going on and about within the text and what the characters do, and nothing that leads to the influences other than what are said earlier. We won't even talk about the reader's opinion in formalism, for it does not matter. It is simply what is going on in the text, what is going on in the story, nothing more and nothing less, as its main concern is simply the text. The following are the formal properties that do not include in literary work, not even the time of the work, when, which period or which era it was written, the background of the work, the representation of the work, the symbolism of the words, the author's moral, religious, or political values, and not even the author's personal life includes here in the formal properties of literary work. Formalist criticism. The formalist criticism analyzes the form of a literary work to discover its true meaning and not what the audiences think, but what the text thinks. Formalism holds the true meaning that can be determined only by analyzing the literary elements of the text and by understanding how these elements work together to form up a cohesive whole. Formalist critics examine a text regardless of its time period, social, political, religious setting, and author's background. They believe the true meaning of the text lies only in the text. Other issues create a false impression of the text and thus jeopardize the audience's interpretation. So, the formalist critics believe that a text should not be interpreted based on a reader's response or as an affective fallacy, the author's stated or inferred intention, or as an intentional fallacy, the author's life, or as a biographical fallacy, historical, religious, or social context, or as a contextual fallacy. Because according to formalism, these fallacies are the subjective biases and a text should be analyzed objectively to determine its true meaning. Formalism emphasizes close readings of the text to analyze the deeper meanings of the words individually and collectively. We've been talking about text or features of text that a formalism approaches that analyze, interpret, or evaluate these inherent features. But what exactly is a formalism? According to formalism, a text is a literary work which is a finished product, and nothing can change its meaning and form. The form and contents of the text cannot be separated. Therefore, it creates meaning as a whole. A literary text has a fixed meaning. The greatest literary texts are the constant, coherent, timeless, and universal. A checklist for formalist criticism. A formalist critic analyzes how the work is structured or organized, or how the said work is formed, how it is advancing or transiting to the next or the following lines, how it begins and how it will end, how the plot is built and how the plot will relate to its structure, or how each part of the work relates to the work as a whole, and other following mentions. A good example of formalism is that one story that is closely examined in a formalist fashion is the Metamorphosis by Franz or Kafka. A man named Grigor Samsa is suddenly transformed into a bug. His abrupt and unexplained transformation is juxtaposed with a lot of really modern day-to-day details. From a close reading, one can get a glimpse of the loneliness that Grigor feels on a daily basis, and the transformation could be a literal manifestation of Gregor's alienation from society. Another literary work that can be closely examined is the translation from the natural world by Les Murray.